me? For real? Oh.
You can call from the Bahamas using Rev Boy's prepaid home phone service and prepaid chat cards for much less.
Hey girl, are you ready?
You get free unlimited on-island calls, voicemail, and no internet service or ID is required.
Hello?
Rev Boy's prepaid home phone service and prepaid chat cards. Staying in touch never sounded so good.
Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned into NB12 Weekend, broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Coming up tonight in news, the Commissioner of Police ticked off over doubt surrounding crime statistics. This as he welcomes another gun amnesty period. A refurbished Pompei Square breathes life into downtown Nassau.
I declare this square formally open.
A stylish way to commemorate 40 years of independence. We've got those stories and so much more coming up. I'm Paige McCartney, and NB12 starts right now. Welcome once again to NB12. Even as the Commissioner of Police and the Minister of National Security have demonstrated repeatedly that several major categories of crime have decreased over the past year or so, many doubt that crime is actually down. While after another disclosure of crime stats this week was met with more skepticism, Police Chief Ellison Greenslade is speaking out, claiming he's insulted that anyone would suggest he's suppressing information. Juan McCartney reports.
Statistics revealed by Nottage earlier this week revealed that crime is down by 10% overall for the period January 1 to June 11th this year. And officials say the numbers just are what they are, even though Nottage did reveal that in 6 out of the 15 major categories of crime recorded, including armed robbery, the numbers are up. However, not all crimes are included as part of the statistics officials release from time to time, which might lead to some skepticism. In any event, Greenslade said with some measure of annoyance when we interviewed him that he's had about enough of that and wonders why anyone would try to paint him as a liar when all he's done is try to serve the Bahamian people.
I said to someone recently, if you contend that someone dies and that person is connected to a family, which we know, and there's a grieving family that you as a press interview, and you record a murder or a dead body or a death, where are we hiding bodies? What other figures would you like me to give you? You ask me a question, I give you a statement of fact, and you get upset because the figures are lower? That for me is something to think about.
So let's look at murders. They're definitely down. There have been 56 recorded so far this year, compared to at least 66 recorded up to this point last year. On social media and talk shows, for example, however, there's constant allegations that Greenslade is massaging the figure due to the political pressure from the PLP, which made crime one of the focal points of its last campaign. There are also open-ended questions from members of the opposition and prominent clergy members about the state of crime in the country. Greenslade said he's still surprised by the commentary.
I would be telling you an untruth if I said I wasn't concerned about what I hear intelligent people say who know better. Facts are facts. You know, I came to office with credibility. I'm going to leave with credibility. The majority of our people are credible people. And we've never done anything to demonstrate any measure of disrespect to our citizens. And so when you ask the commissioner, what is the state of crime? What in fact is happening? And I tell you, you can't come back and bash me and say, oh geez, he's lying to me. That's a bad feeling. That's a bad feeling. I think about that a lot. Because it speaks again to respect. Who do you respect? You're saying that the pastor's a liar, the politician is a liar, now the commissioner's a liar. Listen to what we're saying. Who do you believe?
Even though overall crime numbers are down, Greenslade and Nottage admit that there are still some troubling trends, with armed robbery and robbery being up and gun violence continuing to plague communities. However, the commissioner said all is not lost.
We in law enforcement do far better than a lot of people on this planet. We as people in this country do far better in terms of how we behave, how we govern ourselves than many people on this planet. we need to be respectful to ourselves again. Do we have lots of work to do? Absolutely. Are there far too many bad boys on the streets and bad girls? Absolutely. Let's keep working at it.
Green said though things aren't perfect, Bahamians should stop bashing the Bahamas. Though he doesn't like the criticism, there's still the fact that Nottage this week described the fear of crime as being at an all-time high. That, along with the minister's plan to have at least 150 Defense Force officers start assisting police with some of their duties, and it's clear the fight against crime is far from over, despite the downward trend in the numbers. Reporting for MB12, I'm Juan McCartney.
Well, police are meantime investigating what led to a teenager being shot late yesterday afternoon. According to reports, the 17-year-old boy was in the area of Monastery Park when he was shot. He was taken to hospital and treated and discharged, but police are asking for the public's assistance as they search for 2 men in connection with this incident. Also, police say 4 men between 27 and 37 years old were arrested early this morning after being caught with significant amounts of marijuana. Police executed a search warrant of a home on Sumner Street in Nassau Village where they say they found the men and the drugs and cash believed to be the proceeds of crime. And police are also searching for a man they say robbed a business establishment on the corner of Soldier Road and East Street last night. Police say the man was wearing a yellow striped shirt and camouflage pants when he stormed into a store wielding a handgun shortly after 10 p.m. and made off with an unspecified amount of cash. If you are in the area and can help police with their investigations, they want you to contact them. Now, one of the ways Dr. Nottage suggested police could combat crime earlier this week is with another gun amnesty. The last amnesty, which was in force for about a month in late 2011, saw about 75 firearms and thousands of rounds of ammunition turned in as more stringent gun laws were about to go into effect. Commissioner Greenslade told us he welcomes another gun amnesty, but also noted that police are still collecting guns off the street without any amnesty. He said he wants people to understand that illegal firearm possession is no simple matter as far as police are concerned.
We were covering a lot of firearms, significant amounts of firearms. The issue is to get our people to understand that they should not in the first instance possess firearms, and that this society is going to be totally intolerant to it, and that the laws of the country will demonstrate that we're intolerant to it. That's the significant bit for me.
Well, following the last amnesty, anyone convicted of unlawful possession of a firearm or ammunition faced imprisonment for a minimum of 4 years under the Firearms Amendment Act. Nottage previously said the government should look at amending some of the stiffer penalties the Ingram administration put in place. But so far, the government has not revisited those laws. Meantime, Police Press Liaison Inspector Chrislyn Skipping said while she welcomes a gun amnesty, she also encourages those who might have knowledge of guns to help police confiscate them.
A lot of you have stepped up to the plate and you have called in and you have given us information, but we want those persons yet who haven't done their parts to call in and provide us with that information. We've got to get the firearms off of the streets so that we can save our young men. Too many of our young men are being killed and we have to save them, and the only way we can do that is by you calling in and providing us with that information. Put the firearm in a garbage bin, put it near to a garbage bin, put it somewhere, then just call us and say, look here, a weapon. If you go to this particular place at this particular time, you will find a weapon. We must get the weapons off of the streets.
Well, the fight to get guns out of the hands of criminals and those without proper training is also the responsibility of the entire family, says Skippings. She added that far too often family members know about guns in their homes, but say and do nothing without realizing the danger other family members might be in.
As a mother, you should know exactly what's inside of your home. You should police your home. Fathers should police their homes as well. Aunts and uncles, a lot of times you know exactly what's going on. It's your duty to call in. Let me tell you, if you don't call in, that same weapon that your son or your nephew has in his or her possession, that same very weapon can turn around and injure a family member, and we don't want that happening.
And there's been no word on when another gun amnesty would take place, but Greenslade said that's not the only tool they're looking at to get guns off the streets. He said he couldn't talk about any other planned measures just yet. Police have taken hundreds of guns off the streets so far this year alone. When the Ingram administration lifted its ban on copper exports, Super Value owner Rupert Roberts said copper thieves came back with a vengeance. However, after news of a proposed temporary ban on copper, Roberts said that he hopes the government is working on a more permanent solution to the vexing issue. In March, Roberts says his food store chain lost $1 million over the last 5 years as a result of copper theft. In July 2011, the Ingram administration placed a temporary ban on scrap metal trade and a permanent ban on copper exports in response to the rise in copper theft. The former government later lifted the copper ban and amended the Customs Management Act to allow for copper exports under stringent conditions. On Tuesday, Minister of National Security Dr. Bernard Nottage called for the closure of all cash for gold businesses and a temporary ban on copper exports. Nottage said of the 506 armed robberies committed between January 1st and June 11th this year, 59% of them involved copper or jewelry theft. Well, a former eyesore on Bay Street has been transformed into a green space that will feature cultural performances for locals and hopefully millions of tourists. Gone are the charred remains of the makeshift tent that temporarily housed the straw market on Bay Street, and restored are the burnt-out shells of the Pompei Museum and Seamen's Chapel in the new Pompei Square, which officially opened last night. The square features a gazebo for performances, jet water fountains, and public restrooms in a landscaped area. Downtown Nassau Partnership Managing Director Ed Fields said the nearly $2.5 million project served as a catalyst for the improvement of surrounding areas as new businesses are set to come on stream. Fields yesterday thanked the current Christie administration and the former Ingram administration for having singularity of vision on the project, which has been in the works since 2011.
Former Prime Minister approved our plans back in 2011, and when we presented what was happening downtown to Prime Minister Christie, DPM Davis, and others at the very beginning of this administration, they showed their support, which continued and is evidenced by what we see here today. Not to mention the PM's constant querying me on when he could get a tour. Minister of Tourism Obi Wilshcombe, thank you for your immediate grasp and acceptance of what we're trying to accomplish. When we met with you and Ministers Hannah, Martin, and Strawn, we realized from that day that the vision for downtown Nassau would be untouched by politics, and demonstrated how we all shared the same dream for a revitalized downtown.
Fields said the DNP also has plans in the pipeline for the transformation of rundown areas in the vicinity.
Additional plans include improvements to Rawson Square. The pedestrianization of Marketplace has been approved by Cabinet. The refurbishment of sidewalks on Bay Streets are underway and will continue to Elizabeth Avenue, and even creating a central park that will incorporate the Botanical Gardens, Fort Charlotte, Western Esplanade, the Fish Fry, Clifford Park, and Long Wharf, which some now refer to as Junkanoo Beach. Plans are also well underway to enhance public transportation in the city of Nassau with the implementation of park and ride facilities and reducing the congestion and resultant impact in the downtown area caused by the volume of buses traversing the area. The idea was embraced wholeheartedly by the Prime Minister and Minister of Transport Glenys Hannah Martin and Minister of State Hope Strawn. I assure you all that now that we have completed this project, our full attention will be given to the implementation of the downtown shuttle.
Well, Prime Minister Perry Christie, who officially opened the square yesterday, said as soon as he saw the square, it was love at first sight, and there was an instant recognition that the DNP had improved the space dramatically.
Our task moving forward is to facilitate the completion of the boardwalk construction so that Bahamians and visitors alike can enjoy a safe and serene waterfront stroll all along our historic harbor. Just as this has come about, and the beauty and the serenity and the peace that you feel and contentment that you feel here, just imagine if we are able to foster and encourage the Kellys and the Simonets and the Thompsons and the others to develop their properties on the waterfront moving east of Rawson Square. That has to be the future. It has to be the vision. So Ed, the work has just begun.
Christie said the challenge now is to work more aggressively, yet to improve the tourism product to improve visitor satisfaction and increase visitor spend. The Prime Minister said he will be meeting with executives of EDA on Monday. EDA is the company that did the last study on the redevelopment of downtown. Christie said the meeting will take place with the objective of moving forward with the redevelopment and restoration of Nassau.
So be assured, therefore, that the restoration and proper maintenance of historically important sites will be a top priority for my government. This will extend in the immediate future to Fort Finn Castle, which is one of the most visited heritage sites in our country, with recording approximately 1 million annual visitors. We will restore the area inclusive of the Queen's Staircase and the Water Tower, which have been closed for over 10 years. Collins House, though in need of significant repairs, still retains structural integrity and will be restored and renovated to become the National Museum. The Fort Charlotte complex on West Bay Street is the largest single heritage attraction in the city of Nassau. We plan to bring life to it for Bahamians and tourists alike through historic military pageantry unlike anything to be found anywhere else in the country. The Antiquities and Monuments Corporation, very advanced on their plans. It is important that we preserve these areas for future generations of Bahamians and that we rightly use them to tell the Bahamian story.
Well, the Prime Minister also thanked late MPs George Mackey and Norman Solomon for their vision of a redeveloped downtown that inspired others for many years. A plaque dedicated to Exumian slave Pompei, who fought to keep the slaves owned by the Roll family together in 1830, several years before emancipation, stands in the square.